I'm Matt Bishar with REIT.com here in La Quinta, California for REITWise 2013, NAREIT's Law, Accounting, and Finance Conference. I'm joined today by Sam Melehani, partner with PwC. Sam, I wanted to talk today about state-level tax issues facing REITs. So let's start at the foundation. How do most states tax REITs?
Generally, most states will follow federal income tax treatment in the sense that you'll have the dividends paid deduction. So because of that, a lot of the states will not impose income taxes on these REITs. Where we find a lot of the incidence of tax tends to be at a lower level, which is the level such as the partnership level or a single member LLC level below the REIT, where the incidence of tax is beginning to occur. In such states as Pennsylvania and Tennessee, such taxes can be quite significant and a lot of times can catch you by surprise because you would expect to have DPD, but then at a lower level you don't get to see that. So because of that, it tends to be a little bit very difficult to navigate from a state and local perspective.
And what are some recent developments that have affected this tax treatment?
There are several that have been quite troublesome, if you will. The first is the rise and the change in the method of taxation. A lot of states have begun moving towards gross receipts type taxes. In Texas, there's some discussion now about Nevada and New Mexico moving towards that tax. A gross receipt tax certainly no benefit for dividends paid deduction, so it does make it a higher burden. So that increase has really made it very difficult on REITs doing business in a lot of these jurisdictions. The other area that has been very difficult is, again, the rise of the administrative process of complying. You have a lot of jurisdictions that are now imposing tax on these entities, whether it be gross receipts, whether it be income taxes, at a much lower level. So the rise of the administration has really made it very, very difficult. And then perhaps the final one I would add is a lot of laws have changed recently trying to combat captive REIT type of structures, which are perceived to be a tax haven. And as a result of those laws, what we found is a lot of the states are beginning to cast a much wider net. And because of that, a lot of taxes are coming out that are really not intended necessarily for good legitimate REITs, but are catching them nevertheless.
And what are some of the traps for the unwary that REITs should know about in terms of state taxation?
I think perhaps the transfer tax. That is a very difficult area of the law that has really caused a lot of problems. And a lot of REITs are engaged in what I would call deferred maintenance of late, trying to clean up their structures, get rid of unwanted entities and so on within the group. And as a result of that, if you're not careful, you can trigger a lot of transfer tax. Transfer tax, by its basic description, is a sales tax, if you will, on the real estate when you do sell it. But a lot of the state's rules are so different that if you move an asset from one entity to the other within the same group, that could trigger that transfer tax. So that could be quite a trap that you'd have to be very careful navigating. The other area, which as I mentioned earlier, and that's the captive REIT area. A lot of states with their laws around captive REITs have really made it very, very difficult for a lot of companies to have such, captive REIT or private REITs that are held by the REIT itself, and impose on them different set of laws that really make it very difficult for them to operate, or at least to get that same benefit they were all, ultimately are looking for. And then perhaps the franchise taxes and the local taxes are probably another area. Franchise taxes are typically taxes based on net worth. Those are continuing to grow and become a lot more significant in the structure. And then the local tax, you're starting to see a lot more taxes come around that way. LA City, San Francisco City, West Virginia cities, Pennsylvania cities. These cities are not just imposing small taxes like you would expect. They're actually imposing taxes that are becoming extremely large and very significant on the organization.
Sam, thank you so much for shedding some light on these state issues.
My pleasure.
For more on this and other REIT news and analysis, be sure to visit REIT.com.